I'm very pleased to be talking with Elizabeth Hall this morning. She is one of 25 contributing authors to our book, The Great Pause, Blessings and Wisdom from COVID-19. Thank you for taking time to talk with me this morning, Elizabeth.
Sure, Elizabeth, it's my pleasure. This is fun.
Yeah. The two Elizabeths.
Yes.
It's the Elizabeth
It's
show.
gonna be very interesting.
So won't you tell us a little bit about you, your work, where you come from, where you live?
Absolutely. So I'm a life coach, and I actually specialize in intuitive eating and helping women make peace with food in their bodies.
Mm.
And that is a really complex and beautiful dance that I take people through. We were just speaking beforehand about how it's kind of hard to explain what that is, but it's really helping people listen more to their bodies and less to the noise of our world that tells us what we should and we shouldn't do. And I came to the work through my own body story, through my own journey with trying to accept my body, with my journey of being a chronic dieter for 30 years. And I just found so much powerful information when I started to heal myself that I got really inspired to want to share it and help people with the same feelings of ease and joy and freedom that I was feeling for pretty much the first time ever. And so I left my corporate job as an actuary, which was my first job for many, many years. And I went down the coaching path, and I haven't looked back. And I live in West Hartford. You were asking about that. Yeah, and I'm just enjoying the ride.
I love your chapter in the book because this is a time of the great pause where we were, all of us, kind of more cognizant of what our needs actually are. I think especially in our society, well, a lot of us, most of us, kind of take for granted getting food, whatever we want any time of year, basically, like, having that. And to have that, I think it brought up a lot of fear around security and food and what we just need to survive as humans. Did you find that? What did you find during COVID-19?
Yeah, and not personally, but one of the reasons I wanted to write the book about food, not only because that's what I do with my work, but there was a lot of judgment happening. There were all the memes that were talking about, quarantine 15 and all things like that. And it just showed me that people needed to take that pause, perhaps, to understand that their bodies can be trusted and that bodies fluctuate and bodies know what they need. And when you listen to your body and have a relationship with it, that's, a give and take relationship, it will give you signals for what it wants to eat, how it wants to move. And so part of the blessing of COVID is quieting that noise so you could hear that voice. And I was a little concerned that with all the judgment, people weren't gonna take that opportunity to really get to know what their bodies were trying to tell them. So that's kind of what inspired the chapter.
Yeah, because it is always a choice, right? We were given an opportunity to pause and reflect and go inward, but you can still find every distraction available to not, right? Like the judgment is a distraction, right? This layer of making it wrong, certain things, right? So
exactly.
And I love the work that you do because it is, I know for myself, that tuning inward, that trusting my body and my body's messages, it's so important for my own personal health and, food, what I take in, and for absolutely everything. So for myself now, I will tune in and actually ask my body about decisions I have to make or, things I need to decide, that it's not just about food, the work that it's so huge. I'm sure you when you're working with someone, you might be working on this, but it's everything in their life can change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for some people, it's not quite safe to go into the body yet because of all the judgment and past traumas, ways that they've looked at their body as not being okay. And that really needs to be healed first. So then you can trust what your body's trying to tell you. And our society kind of has it backwards. We kind of pick the behavior we want and say, we're going to do this. We're going to do this every day. We're going to get on a schedule. We're going to make it work, without sort of going to the feelings, the thoughts, the beliefs, and the emotions that are underneath it. So yeah, it's really rich territory.
That's fascinating too. And I don't know that I've thought of it that way, with that there's nothing wrong. And I think I probably catch myself on this, of being like, there's even a judgment I'd put on about like, well, just trust your body. What the heck? like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right. But the way that you just phrased that is so awesome, because it's recognizing that even those protections of not being ready to go there are messages too, right? There's something to heal in that.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to need that space before going to that place. A lot of us, you know, were raised not to, you know, I was, my mother was very good about food with me, but I know her mother was very bad with food, like not letting her eat and like being very strict about like how much she got and all this stuff. And so people are, you know, I feel pretty tuned in to my body, but it really was because I was given the gift of being raised in a way that I could listen to my body. Like she would let me be like, no, I don't want to eat that, or no, I'm really craving this. But not everyone is given that opportunity, you know?
Exactly. And the beauty is we can all learn it though, or relearn it, because we all know it when we're infants, and we know exactly how much to eat and we stop when we're full, and that gets sort of programmed out of us. But it's something we can always come back to. And that's what I think is so beautiful about this work, is it is an innate given ability that we have to listen to our bodies, and we can come back to that.
It's so cool, because I think a lot of people think, oh, you can't relearn that or something, but that's not.
No, our brains are plastic, which there's a lot of neuroscience in the work that I do. We're rewiring old patterns. A lot of people are just stuck on the same track, and we need to disrupt it and move to a more empowering place where it's more full of that non-judgment and self-compassion, which is available to everyone.
Now, so you took this time during the Great Pause to be writing more,
Yes.
which is awesome. Do you have any advice for people that are writing, that want to be authors? Do you have advice for them?
Well, I would say don't be afraid to try things even when you're not sure how they'll work out, because I jumped into this project not knowing exactly where it was going to lead. And I just thought this will be fun and I'll learn something. So maybe I'm not sure if my writing is what they're looking for, but I'll never know until I try. And then I think the only other thing, which is probably a common thing that most writers talk about, is just that connecting and aligning to your heart first, and then sharing from that place, as opposed to trying to share from your head and share mental thoughts. And so I mostly try, I will not put out a blog post if I'm not able to come from that space of the heart-centered, because that's where it flows and that's where it has more impact. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is the best way for people to get in touch with you, learn more about your work, maybe share about the blog?
Sure. So my website is Elizabeth Hall Coaching. And so my blog is on my website. And I write about all things about healing our relationship with food and body, with a big emphasis on sort of spiritual principles that come into play, because for me that was foundational in my healing. And my email is Elizabeth@ElizabethHallCoaching, and people can even just email me and reach out. I do free consults where people might just want to ask me some questions because they're not sure what this work is all about. I know our other co-author, Ryan Hall, had done a podcast with me, and he's like, "What do you mean a relationship with food in your body? What does that mean?" So people can just set up a call and we can talk about it. So yeah, and I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook if you just look for Elizabeth Hall Coaching.
Excellent. It was so lovely to talk with you this morning. Thank you for taking.
Yeah. You as well, and thank you for spearheading our project. This is so exciting.
I'm so glad you said yes to this crazy unknown thing.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.